What is going on, guys? Today we are going to be taking YETI down to Applied Technology Suspension. My buddy Tyler down there who runs it, Race Tech Services. We're not just doing suspension today. YETI has 103.4 hours on it, so it's time to get this engine done. We did the top end around 60, 65 hours, something like that. But now that we're over 100, I want to get the bottom end done. I just want to make sure that my bike is reliable and not going to blow up on me. So doing that kind of work is way out of my wheelhouse. I wouldn't trust myself doing that. If you guys weren't aware, Race Tech is more than just suspension. They also do engine services. So I'm going to take it down to Tyler, my suspension guy, and now my engine guy, and he's going to take care of it for me, send it off to Race Tech and get that all sorted. And also, I have about 40 hours on my current suspension since I got it serviced last. So we're going to get a suspension service, new oil, seals, all that kind of stuff, because the oil breaks down and doesn't really work the way it's supposed to. So every 30 to 50 hours you got to get your suspension service too. So we're going to take it down to Tyler in Castle Rock, again at Applied Technology Suspension with Race Tech, and he's going to pull the bike apart and get those engine pieces sent off to Race Tech and get them all fixed up for me. So we'll have a nice fresh bike here. So let's get loaded up. Gonna bring my Frontier lubricant oil too, so that when we get the engine back, we can put in the oil I run in it. It's pretty windy out here, but we just got to Tyler's shop, Applied here, so get unloaded. He's on a call right now, but get unloaded and moved into the workshop. We're at Tyler. We're at Tyler's shop here, Applied Technology Suspension. Just dropped off the bike. So what's the plan with the whole engine and everything here?
So we'll disassemble your motor. We're going to clean it all on the inside. We're going to send the cylinder head, the cylinder, and the crank out to Race Tech in California to their engine department. They're going to rebuild the crank with an OEM connecting rod. That's a pretty cost-effective thing instead of replacing the entire crank. The OEM cranks on these bikes are really good these days, so just replacing the rod on them is a really cost-effective way to get you a new one in there. We'll inspect all the bearings and stuff in the low end and everything as well, make sure all that is still functioning. The cylinder will get precision honed, and then the valves will get taken out, and he's going to do a 5-angle valve seat on them and possibly back cut the valve. A lot of people always think when you hear motor stuff that you always have to go full race build. A lot of bikes don't really need it, especially the 450s nowadays, and a lot of people don't necessarily have that in the budget or really a need for it either. So doing just a couple little things like that, like the valve seat job, back cutting the valves, honing the cylinder with a precision hone, will increase the horsepower enough to where you can feel it without having to feel it in your wallet as well. So it's really cost effective to do, and it just kind of gives the bike a little bit more pep, a little bit more snap, and we'll get everything all freshened up.
Awesome. And then it'll still have the same reliability because we're not doing anything too crazy. Yeah. Am I still good to run my premium pump gas?
Yep, all that's good for pump gas, and it is all, we typically try to use as many OEM parts as we can. We've just found through testing and stuff that OEM parts for the most part last longer than anything else out there. So we'll use aftermarket pistons a little bit, but as far as like the rods, valves, all that kind of stuff goes, if they need to be replaced, we use all OEM stuff. So that keeps it, like you said, reliable and pump gas friendly. So that way, again, it's easy on your wallet.
Perfect. And right now my bike has 103 hours on it. What's kind of your time frame that you would suggest someone, if they had a brand new bike, how many hours should they put on before they start looking at something like this?
So that's kind of a loaded question. It depends on who you ask. Like, in my opinion, if you're a guy kind of like how we are, we're like weekend warriors, we'll race sometimes, we're not super hard on the bike, we don't rev it, we maintain the bike. That's another big thing, is like oil changes and air filters will prolong your service intervals. So typically I try to do a top end on a bike about every 40 hours at a minimum, and then a crank about every 80 or so. Got it. And then there's some plus or minus to that. Like I said, it just depends on who you ask, but those are numbers that I kind of always had good luck with and have kind of gone with.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited to get that taken care of, and appreciate that you're here for me and we can get this handled with Race Tech.
Yeah, definitely. We'll get it all good.
Awesome, man.
Sounds good.
All right, we just dropped off the bike with Tyler at Applied Technology Suspension. He's pretty backed up, and we knew that going into it, so he's not going to be even starting on my bike yet today. So I'm going to have a little bit off the bike, which is perfectly fine. Get to spend time with Allison and Ezra and Murphy too. But yeah, so he'll start tearing it down and then send all the parts off to Race Tech and get all that handled. But he's gonna do some time-lapse footage for me and some unboxing and stuff, so you guys will be seeing that. You know, for you it'll be in the blink of an eye, but for me it'll be in a few weeks here, 2 weeks here or whatever. But really cool, and I'm just so grateful to have met Tyler and have this relationship through Applied Technology Suspension and Race Tech. And like I said, if you guys need any suspension or engine work, definitely email chris@racetech.com. let him know that Dio sent you, and he'll be able to take care of you, get you in contact with your local Race Tech service center, and get your bike feeling and running great. But Tyler's gonna take care of all of that, so we're just gonna go back home.
What's going on, everyone? Tyler with Applied Technology here. We got YETI up on the lift stand in the shop today, and we're going to be pulling the heart out of this beast and getting it all torn down so that we can send some parts off to Race Tech for engine machining services. Getting ready to drain the oil. Got some tools laid out here. We're going to pull the engine, get it all split apart, and off to California. Thanks for calling Race Tech. This is Tyler. All right, we got the motor all pulled out of YETI here and over on the engine bench. We're going to start tearing this guy down. We'll get the head all torn apart, the piston and cylinder off, and the bottom end split, get the crank out of it. We're going to go with a Carrillo rod rebuilt on the stock crankshaft on this guy, as well as a cylinder hone and deck and a full 5-angle valve seat job. Again, these parts are going to get sent out to Race Tech Engine Services out in Corona, California. Let's start tearing her down. Okie doke. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Feels like home.
Right.
There she is, YETI, back where she belongs, back in the garage. All right, we got YETI back in the garage. We got Tyler, he just dropped it off. So give us a quick synopsis of how it went together and what you did, Tyler.
Everything went pretty smooth. We got the motor all torn apart, sent the crank, the cylinder, and the head out to Race Tech in California. Andrew rebuilt the crank with a new rod, new pin, and new bearing, and then precision honed the cylinder as well as decked it a little bit for a little bit higher compression. And then on the cylinder head, we put all new valves in, intake and exhaust, OEM valves, and then Andrew did a 5-angle valve seat cut, which helps with the flow for fuel and exhaust in and out of the cylinder, as well as back cut the valves, which also helps with flow. And then we also went with a custom spec'd CP piston that Andrew designed and CP manufactures for us. So she's all back together, and I've rode it around a little bit, and she's ready to go.
Awesome, man. And of course, I already talked about it, but you did your normal suspension service, oil, seals, bearings, I'm not sure, bushings, I guess.
Yeah, the bushings were good, did seals, oil, just got everything all nice and fresh.
Perfect. And so like you said, you already started it, rode it around some, so it's broken in, it's full of oil, and I'm ready to just grip it and rip it tomorrow.
Broken in and ready to go.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate it, Tyler. Thank you so
problem.
much. So we have YETI down in the garage already. We're gonna go ride tomorrow. I just remembered I have some spit up on my shirt from Ezra, but we're gonna go ride tomorrow. So try out the new Race Tech package on the bike, and of course the just service suspension. So I'll check in with you guys tomorrow just to kind of finish up this video with a little bit of riding footage, but I'm just so excited to have the bike back and to feel what the bike can do with the Race Tech stuff. Of course, it sucks that I hurt my knee literally just 2 weeks ago, but at least we can still ride and see what it feels like out there. So after riding the 250s and Tyler's 350, I did hop on Tony's 450, but it's gonna be so nice to have my 450 back without all that power and what Race Tech has added to it. So we're gonna turn in for the night, but I'll check in with you guys tomorrow.
All right, so I just did my first few motos with the new engine and everything, and I'm riding it pretty timid, of course, because my knee, but this triple out of this corner, I just hit it that last lap, and this thing is insane. Like, I've just kind of been barely revving it. I got on it there, and it just pulled. It was crazy, so I'm gonna hit it again real quick for you guys, then send it back to the pit.
Nice.
I really don't know how to explain it to you guys, but this thing's a rocket ship. Like, this is the only place I'm really actually getting on it currently, but it just pulls insane. I can't believe it. Just holding that second gear, and as you rev it up, it just pulls and pulls and pulls, and that's crazy. This reminds me so much of my buddy Brendan. He had that MCR Honda, the 2015, I think. That was my favorite bike I've ever rode. This reminds me of it now, so let's get another angle of that, but this is so sick.
It looked easy, it looked totally effortless. All right, the bike sounded really crisp. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it feels so good. I'm not pushing very hard. I've said that quite a few times, but let's turn this way actually. We'll keep going. I'm not pushing too hard like I've said quite a few times, but right before that triple, I'm able to actually get on it. Second gear, and it just pulls. It's crazy. Like, I don't know. My dad has said that he thinks a 450 is a cheater bike, which he's right about. This is a cheater bike. This is insane. And I pulled off the track, and Darren had a quick comment. What did you say?
Bike definitely sounded different. Sounded more beefy, like just throatier off the bottom, I guess. But no, I look fast on it.
Yeah, it feels really good, and I'm not pushing it yet. Probably won't be today, but I'm absolutely in love with it. So I'm so excited. Thank you so much to Tyler and Race Tech. And again, you guys, hit up Chris at racetech.com. He'll get you dialed in with your local Race Tech service center, and you can make your bike a rocket ship too. But super stoked with it. I guess that's going to be this video. So thank you guys for watching. As always, leave a comment, hit like, take it easy. If it's easy, take it twice. Talk to you later.